It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, folks, today we're going to jump on that gigantic Sharp Interactive board. We're going to go through HP's second quarter for the FY 2024. Without any further ado, let's just jump on the board. First thing I want to do is share this picture of the CEO having an interview. The CEO of HP, Eureka Loris, loves to do these interviews right after the earnings calls are posted. And I'll say this, just because Eureka has his eyes closed doesn't mean the investors should close theirs. I was kind of amazed. There they are, closed eyes. Even the interviewer's eyes are closed. I'm thinking neither one of them believe anything they're talking about. I mean, think about the CEO of HP. Every single earnings call. We're going to put the AI in the computers, AI and computers, AI and computers. Everybody gets excited. I'm just like, he's probably sitting there thinking, I cannot believe people believe this shit. I mean, what are they thinking? AI and computers just going to be permission to show up. But that's what he's thinking. That's why his eyes are closed probably. If I was at interview, the first question I would have asked Eureka Loris is this question. Eureka, you took the helm in November of 2019. That was the very first month of FY 2019. You had a couple of peak years, 2021 and 2022. Of course, we all know that growth came from the fact that the world was in a global shutdown around a pandemic, and HP had some supply that some of the other compute players didn't have, and they were able to take advantage of supply and demand, and their revenues grew quite substantially. But as I shared with everybody when that happened back in 21 and 22, it was just a bubble. And sooner or later, HP would face pressure. And then the interviewer could have said, so the question for you is, when you end FY 2024, Eureka Loris, your revenues are going to be about where they were in 2017. How come you cannot grow the revenue of the company? That would have been a fantastic question to ask of the CEO of HP. But no, they both sat around and dreamed about AI. I'm thinking, if they would have asked that question, Eureka Loris probably would have done this. Well, we're going to have AI in the coffee pots in all the offices at HP. And when the people drink the coffee from the coffee pot with AI, they're going to be a lot smarter. They're going to help us grow our revenue. Holy smokes. The stock, it started to come back a little bit, about 5%. After hours trading, almost 1%. We'll see where it ends up this week. But keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, most of the stock at HP is in the hands of big funds. Vanguard Group, BlackRock, State Street. And when these big funds realize the same thing that Warren Buffett realized and they start dumping their shares, well, guess what? There'll be a major correction. Now I have to do a shout out to Michael Dell. Michael Dell actually said this last week. Michael Dell took a big old hit. Their stock dropped like 22%. I'll share that in a second with you. But you know what he says? He says AI PCs will be pretty standard in 2025. It's like it's not a big deal. And he said it with his eyes wide open. Hey, it's just like a permission to show up. Thankfully, we're Dell. And we're so much bigger than the folks over there at HP and their PC business. Ladies and gentlemen, you know why Dell's stock dropped so much? Because they didn't hit their profit expectations in that PC business unit of theirs. And the reason they didn't hit their profit, well, a lot of the analysts are thinking it's because they went out there and they sold all these machines they had with AI, the servers with AI, for probably at or below cost to get them out in the market. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what's going to happen. Even with the HP AI PCs. Folks are going to get crazy and they're going to go out there and get these things out in the marketplace, and the competition is going to get brutal because AI and PCs is just going to be permission to show up. HP CEO sold some stock back in October of 2023. He should have waited. He should have sold it last week. He would have made an extra $400,000. So even he didn't believe that the stock was going to go up like it did at the end of their second quarter. I'm telling you, the reason he's closing his eyes in that interview, he's just thinking to himself, I just can't believe I lost $400,000. People are really buying this crap about the AI and PCs. That's what he was thinking. I'm sure what he was thinking that. I shared this, risk checks. Let me just go through this really quick. I shared this at the end of their first quarter. Do they have negative shareholder equity? Yeah, they do have negative shareholder equity over there at HP. Are revenue and earnings forecast to grow? No, they're actually forecast to decline by 5.9% over the next 3 years. Are they in good financial position? Has a high level of debt. Has there been a substantial insider selling in the past 3 months? When I shared this at the end of the first quarter and I showed you the insider selling, there's been some insider selling, right? Is their dividend sustainable? Unstable, a dividend track record. Ladies and gentlemen, Eureka Loris, the current CEO, took over the helm in November of 2019. November of 2019 is the very first month of their FY 2019. It goes from November to October. And at the end of the day, look at the debt load. When he took over the fourth quarter of 2019, it was $5.2 billion in gross debt. The gross debt at the end of the second quarter is $7.2 billion. So he's growing the debt. He's just not growing the revenue. For every billion lost in print revenue, Personal Systems needs to generate $3.2 billion in revenues. We all know that the print business for HP generates about a 20% operating profit. We also know that their Personal Systems business group generates about a 6% operating profit. So for every billion lost in print revenue, they got to generate $3.2 billion in revenues on the Personal System to make the same amount of money, right? Ladies and gentlemen, the print revenue is declining rapidly. We all know that their year starts in November, ends in October. Their first quarter's during the holiday. They love to present their first quarter earnings because they'll get a little bit of a holiday boost, pump, right? And then they got February to April. Third quarter's May to July. You know, we're listening to the CEO talking about AI and the PCs. I guess a lot of people are going to want these AI PCs to figure out what they're going to do for 4th of July. The 4th of July holiday is going to be so much better because HP has AI in their PCs. Let's look at some facts. I don't really care what they did in their second quarter. What I care about is what are they going to do by the end of FY 2024? Well, we're halfway through. Let's look at the halfway through numbers and compare halfway through 2024 to halfway through 2023. The first half, ladies and gentlemen, we're down in printing business by $605 million. For the first half of FY 2024, the printing business built $8,743 million. Down $605 million from FY 2023. The Personal Systems Business Group, $17,235 million. They're down $156 million. Basically, they're flat. But folks, year on year, if you look at the first half of 2023 and the first half of 2024, HP is down $756 million, 3%. And keep in mind that 2023, that was like one of the worst years they've ever had in declining year on year. From 22 to 23, they dropped in revenue over $10 billion. It was a 15% decline. And halfway through 2024, they're a 3% decline on the worst declining year they ever had. Things aren't perfect at HP. AI and PCs isn't helping HP because they can't grow their damn revenue. Let's look at the Personal Systems. This is what everybody got excited about and why the stock went up. Let me just read this to you. Personal Systems for second quarter FY24. Total units up 7% year on year. Consumer PC units down 1%. Commercial PC units up 12%. So the commercial PC units were up 12%. Keep in mind, the second quarter of 23, the units were down 28%. The first quarter of 2023, the units were down the same, 28%, both quarters in a row last year. So we have a little bit of a bump in commercial PCs. They're up 12% year on year. But let's look at the revenue. Consumer PC revenue is down 3% year on year, and the commercial PC revenue is up 6%. So the units were up 12%, but the revenue's only up 6%. You know what that tells me? That tells me that HP is out there putting machines in the marketplace at really low cost. They're losing profitability. That's got to be what it is, right? Let's look at the printing. For the first quarter of 2024, the supplies revenue was flat. For the first quarter of 2024, total hardware units were down 17%. Consumer printing revenue was down 22%. Commercial printing revenue was down 12%. So we're starting out 2024 in a really, really bad place in the print business. That's why it's down $600-something million so far, right? For the year. Let's look at the second quarter. Supply revenue down 5%. Total hardware units down 17%. Consumer printing revenue down 16%. Commercial printing revenue down 12%. The print business is falling off a cliff. And HP is not able to grow that Personal Systems business group. And as they grow it, are they going to give away all the profitability of it, which is already only at 6% operating profit? I wanted to compare the first half of FY 2024 to the first half of FY 2022. That was the big bubble year when they did over $63 billion in revenue. And I think the leadership at HP got really delusional, thinking that was the new normal for HP. And then they just got way overconfident. But let's look at the comparison for the first half of 24 compared to the first half of 2022. Let me just get to the end number. It's down $7,533 million. The first half of 2024 is off by $7.5 billion over the first half of 2022. The print business is off by $1,051 million. The personal systems business group, the AI and the computers, AI, we're going to change the world with AI in our PCs, is down $6,493 million from FY 2022. This isn't a growing company. This is a company who has a leader that runs around talking about things to try to distract the marketplace from the company's realities. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, if you think about what HP is going to end up with for their FY 2024, I don't think they're going to hit any home runs. And I think the market's going to wake up and realize this company cannot grow its revenue. They need to have a 7% growth over their first 6 months just to be flat to last year. They're not going to have a 7% growth. They've never had a 7% growth. You go through their whole entire history. The growth in the peak years, every quarter was growing. They're not going to hit the number. I wanted to share some revenue numbers. I went all the way back to 2013. But here's the reality, ladies and gentlemen. I believe they're going to end up at FY 2024 with the same amount of revenue they had in 2017. A little over $52 billion. And think about this. In 2023, they did $53.7 billion. They were down 15% from 2022, where they did $63 billion. In 2021, they did $63.5 billion. In 2020, they had $56.6 billion. In 2019, they had $58.8 billion. When did the new leadership take the helm? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now, I'm thinking that the board, when they're meeting with the new leader, they ought to be sharing this chart with them, and they can say, okay, you took over. That year, we had $58 billion, your first year in. Pretty much flat against 2018. And then in 2020, well, we could blame it on the global pandemic or whatever, but it went down to 56.6. And then, this is when they got all excited. He ran in that boardroom and said, oh my God, 63.5. Oh, you're a hero. You're doing fantastic. Okay. And then the next year, oh yeah, we had 63 billion. And then of course, FY 2023, it was a big old train wreck. Yeah, 53.7 billion. I would have thought in 2023, I think the board probably told the leader that, hey, we got to get a 24. We got to have a whole lot better year. But I guess when they have the meeting with the leader at the end of FY 2024 and they say, how come our revenue is where it was in 2017? Maybe they'll talk about AI. Who knows? Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to go back in time. And I went back to the year 2013. 2013, the company had a total revenue between the PC unit, personal systems, if you will, and printing. It was $56.3 billion. And ladies and gentlemen, in 2023, we had a total revenue of $53.7 billion. I mean, we have not grown the company in 10 years. We had a bubble. We're right back where we were. And you would think with all the advancements in PCs and technology since 2013. And keep in mind that 2023 number has something the 2013 number doesn't have, $1.7 billion worth of poly business. And you would hope, since they bought that company, put them on the books that they've grown the business, right? Ladies and gentlemen, this is really scary. The printing business from the year 2014 through 2023 lost $3.465 billion in revenue. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. And folks, by the way, Well, 2.6 billion of it is in hardware. The rest of it is in supplies. But no, hold on. See, I made a mistake. Now I can correct it because I get everybody thinking. Holy smokes, ladies and gentlemen. No, if you look at the printing business from 2014 to 2023, it's down 6.1 billion. 6.1 billion. 3.465 is in supplies and 2.635 is in the equipment. 6.1 billion in declining revenue in print since 2014. For every $1 billion that they lose in print, they got to generate 3.2 billion in personal systems. The personal systems business, at the end of the day, since 2014, billed $3.5 billion. More. That's not a lot. What's going on? Why can't they grow the personal systems business unit? Having the leader run around and talk about AI and PCs quarter after quarter after quarter is not solving their problem. And I've showed this many times. Personal systems, folks, not counting notebooks is bullshit. That's why I put this slide up here. When they stopped counting the notebooks, that told me right then that they're going to try to figure out how to play the shell game. Let's not count the notebooks. Let's dump this $1.7 billion worth of poly business in there. Maybe no one will pay attention. Supply business in the printing, quarter after quarter after quarter is down. Quarter after quarter after quarter. I want to end with this slide, just something to think about. I noticed that the days payable has increased by 14% since January 24 to April 24. It's 132 days. It was 116 days. Why are they dragging out paying their vendors, if you will? What's going on with that? I noticed that the days in inventory increased by 15%. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, HP has got to figure out what they're going to do in this personal systems business unit to offset the losses from the print business. And having their CEO go on the talk show circuit quarter after quarter talking about AI and PCs is getting to be a point of absurdity. And I think those interviewers that interview the CEO of HP ought to start asking him, why the hell can't you grow the revenue of the company? And why are the revenues the same as they were in 2017? Because everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.